Welcome to the Aboriginal channel. On this episode, we're going to learn about a connection between Black Europeans or indigenous Black Europeans and indigenous Americans, also known as Black people in America. So right here, it starts on the Spanish Canadians Wikipedia page under the history, where it says people from Northwest Spain known as Basque. So before Spain was Spain, it was Basque country. It says people from Northwest Spain known as Basques have been landing in Newfoundland since the late 14th century to dry their codfish, which they caught in the Grand Banks of Newfoundland. So these Basque people have been coming to northeast Canada since the late 1300s. Who are the Basques? Right here on an article called The Basque People, says the Basques think of themselves as the original prehistoric inhabitants of what is today Spanish territory. In another article titled Black Presence in the Ancient British Isles, talks about a tribe called the Silures. Silures were the most ancient inhabitants of Britain. It says the swarthy complexion of the Silures and their hair, which is generally curled. It says the Silures were black, does not need to be questioned. They were described as short in stature, with brown complexions and black curly hair and dark eyes. It says the Silures were identical with the small, dark, long-headed Basque-speaking people found in the Western Pyrenees, who were a fragment of the Iberians. It goes on to say that Pliny, the Roman historian, described the Iberians' complexions as Ethiopian, black as Ethiopian. So the Basques were Black people, and the Silures were part of the Basques, and they were the original Britons. It says right here the Silures were the strongest and most organized state in Britain. They were considered one of the bravest of the ancient British nations and defended their country and their liberty against the Romans with the most heroic fortitude. Goes on to say right here that interestingly, in the many books and movies about King Arthur, very few mention that King Arthur was the king of a group of black people. Says another group of blacks in the ancient British Isles were the Picts. Another people were called the Highlanders, which were generally diminutive with brown complexions and almost as always with black curly hair and dark eyes. The last thing it says right here is that there are some who deny the ancient presence of blacks in the British Isles, but that denial becomes a symbol of ignorance when weighed against the evidence. So who were the Aboriginal people that these Basques made contact with in the late 1300s in Newfoundland? That would be the Beothuk. Right here on the Beothuk Wikipedia page, it says Beothuk were a group of indigenous people who lived on the island of Newfoundland. And an interesting aspect about the Beothuk, which were the first tribe of people that Europeans made contact with, despite the Christopher Columbus story that was told, says right here under the description that during spring, the Beothuk used red ochre to paint not only their bodies, but also their houses, canoes, weapons, household appliances, and musical instruments. This practice led Europeans to refer to them as Red Indians. The use of ochre had great cultural significance. The decorating was done during an annual multi-day spring celebration. It designated tribal identity. For example, decorating newborn children was a way to welcome them into the tribe. Forbidding a person to wear ochre was a form of punishment. And I looked up other articles on the Beothuk, and that is where red-skinned Indians come from. The fact that this tribe, the first tribe that white folks seen when they got over here, painted everything red, including their whole bodies. Through the history books, which has all been a lie. So therefore, if it's a lie, then what's the truth? If it's a lie, then what's the truth?